Welcome to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you are ready to find your inner magic, develop great habits, and a rock steady mindset to feel confident, comfortable, and fit in your body, you are in the right place. I am Kim Barnes Jefferson, and I'll be giving you weekly doses of health, fitness, and life tips sprinkled with humor and real talk. If you're ready to be consistent without the stress of perfection, magic makers, it's time to slip into your favorite pair of PJs, grab some coffee, kick back, and listen to today's show. Hey, Magic Makers, welcome to another episode. And today we are talking about that question that haunts your soul harder than, did I take the laundry out of the washer and put it in the dryer? It is that, what the hell am I going to cook tonight, right? It feels like it's this nightly pop quiz and that no one told us we were going to be cooking dinner for the rest of our natural born life. And that we'd have the little staring at us being like, hey girl, what's for dinner? So I called in reinforcements, the one and only Allison Schaaf. She is a rare breed. She is a registered dietitian and a trained chef, and she knows how to balance your macros as well as make Brussels sprouts taste like a party. She's here today to help us break down meal prep without the overwhelm and spill the goods on her stupid, simple system for getting dinner on the table without the stress spiral. So if you still think meal prep is dry chicken in those sad black containers, buckle up. This episode is going to be your dinner lifeline. Welcome to the show, Allison.
And here is this week's iTunes review. It comes to you from Dub by V. She writes, I love the podcast. You speak your mind and you don't sugarcoat anything. I love your energy and your good spirit. Oh, that just fills my heart. You don't even understand how much I enjoy these reviews. So please, if you feel the need, please go to iTunes or wherever you listen to this podcast, do me a favor and hit me up with a 5-star review. I absolutely love them. They mean the world to me, and I will read it on my podcast. So thank you so much, Dub by V. It does mean the world to me.
Magic Makers, I am really excited today because I have Allison Schaaf here on the show. And I like it because I remember, or maybe not remember, but like always, the number one thing I hear from clients, I hear from people on the socials, I hear from just people in the world, what the bleep am I going to eat? And I have someone here, Allison, who is going to help us answer that very question. She not only is a registered dietitian, she also went to culinary school. How many people do you know who did both? I think most people are like just fall into culinary school because they love cooking, but she is a dietitian as well as a chef. So this is really awesome. And she's created an amazing program to really help you guys answer the question, what the heck am I going to eat? Allison, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk with you today.
Yeah. So as I'm, going through your background, usually the people I've had on the show are like, they were bloggers, right? And they just love cooking, and then they just fell into cooking and then turned it into a business. So what came first? Was it the cooking or was it the dietitian? And, how did that all come together?
It was always both, right? Like I went to my culinary program was culinary nutrition. And then I realized to really have an expertise in nutrition, I needed to go on and I got my RD. But I've always looked at it both ways, right? Like if I'm going to cook, I have my nutrition lens on as well. With nutrition, if it doesn't taste good, no one's going to want to follow it long term. Like what? So it's like you can't, I feel like both of them need each other. And so it's always been both for me. It's never been just one.
It's funny that you say that because I think about my husband's family has a history of heart disease and high blood pressure. Mm-hmm. And for years, they follow the DASH diet, which is pretty much the no flavor diet. It was like the no flavor diet for so long. And like you said, if you're, and every, doctor wrote that out, like do this. And you're just like, boiled chicken and bland ass vegetables are not exciting.
I know. It's like, you try that one night for dinner. You tell me how long you want to do it.
Right. Exactly. You eat this way for the rest of your natural born life and you'll wonder why I'm going out and having bacon and eggs.
Exactly.
Hey, Magic Makers, real talk. Have you ever stood in front of your closet, jeans in one hand, stretchy Lulus in the other, debating which one is going to make you feel less like a can of busted biscuits. Yeah, my hand is raised high. Honey, it's not about being lazy. You are not crazy. No, your metabolism just didn't get up and move to another country. The truth is you are doing everything right. Yeah, according to every diet book, trainer, fitfluencer on the internet, and yet your belly fat is still hanging around and thinks it's going to live there forever. But here's what I want you to think about. If this eat less, move more actually worked, we wouldn't be in this situation. We wouldn't be having this conversation. And I believed all this stuff, hook, line, and sinker, and I'm a trainer. So I created something different, something that was short and made for women just over 40 who are sick of starting over. I call it the 5-day belly fat reset. It is a private podcast that cuts through the noise. No calorie math, no endless cardio, just real talk and some science-backed strategies to really help you understand your body right now. I break down why working harder is keeping you stuck. And I see it all the time. Why belly fat is around and what it really is trying to tell you, and how to stop playing health roulette every time you take one little stumble. Don't worry, it's not going to take a lot of time. It is bingeable. It is under 10 minutes. You can do it every day, or you can sit and binge it in one session. We talk all about fat loss and how to get it done. Want to grab a copy of it? Do me a favor. Head over to the link in my bio and click the link and you'll get immediate access. Or if you are on socials, DM me the word reset and I will make sure you get a copy of the podcast. And this is what I know. You don't need another plan. You need a better approach. So let's get this done, Magic Makers. Enjoy the show.
So now, you go to culinary school. Now, did you ever cook professionally? Or did you just kind of fall into your own business at first?
Yeah, so I cooked in some health spas, which was interesting. I think I was like very naively thinking, all the chefs are going to be so into nutrition. And it was so funny, even at some of the top health spas, it was like, but I always could find at least one kindred spirit that was really like into it. But then, after school, I ended up becoming a personal chef and cooking for private clients. Yeah. And I really loved that. But I was, very limited on how many people I could reach week to week. And I realized as I was doing it, there was this common struggle of what's for dinner. Yeah. And I was solving it for like 6 to 10 people. But then I realized in doing so, I kind of came up with these tricks, right? Like, how do you be quicker with it? How do you be more efficient? How do you make healthy taste good, And so I started writing down all of my tricks and hacks and efficiencies and wanted to get that out to more people. So I actually did it side by side for a while. I was working as a personal chef and writing everything out. So I had like these live people to test my recipes on. And then, eventually, now it's, just Prep Dish. But it was kind of a cool evolution. And, when I started it, I was single and now I'm married with 3 kids. So I was always kind of envisioning the busy mom when I was creating it. And now I've come full circle. And on a week-to-week basis, if I don't use my meal plans, like dinner is not happening. So it's a cool full circle moment that I have to use my meal plans now.
Yeah, and I feel like, and you saw this opportunity as well, when you tell a client to just plan your meal, I pretty much might as well say, well, why don't you map yourself to Antarctica? They can't do it. It's too many things swirling around either life or they're just I don't know where to start.
It's overwhelming.
It is. And so, for you, how do you, you give out, so let's just take a step back before we take a step forward. You give a month worth of meal plans at a time, or is it week by week, or how does that work?
So it's week by week, although people have access to the month's worth of meal plans, but it's like 1 week at a time and they have choice that week. And it's like, okay, so here's the week, here's the grocery list. So this is kind of I have this, it's 3 parts and I'll go through because people, you can do it on your own. And I do have people at Prep Dish who it's they'll use it for a while and then they'll take a step back, they'll do it on their own. And then sometimes life gets busy, so they come back or they want new recipes. But, the process is planning it out. So coming up with a grocery, have the meals that you want for the week, come up with a grocery list that matches those meals, actually write out which day, like assign a day to a meal. Like Monday, we're going to have this chicken chimichurri thing. And, Tuesday, it's these shrimp and rice bowls, or, but assign the day to the meal. And then, night by night, you know what you're having. We take it a step further and have a few tasks that you can do up front to create more efficiencies, like a meal prep step. Some of our subscribers do that, some of them don't, but it does help to just make the week go a lot quicker. So if you're getting home at 5:00 and you've got like 20, 30 minutes, well, maybe some time on Sunday afternoon, like an hour in the kitchen, just doing some chopping and making a few sauces will save you a lot of time throughout the week. So we help with that step as well.
Yeah. So as I was going through the service, I saw that and I really like that. So, ladies, just kind of like a visual for you. So when you log into the site, I'm making up this week, it's the week of the 3rd. And it's the week of the 3rd, and you see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, she maps out, the 5. I mean, primarily you're focused on dinner, but this could be any meal that you could make it for any meal that you want. And she writes out all the meals, but I also like that she has what she calls prep day, right? And so I know that some people just got into the fetal position when you hear prep day and you think about all the black containers laid out on the countertop and just spending it half your Sunday in the kitchen. But, for you, about how much time on that prep day would you say your people are spending in the kitchen?
So we have a few different meal plan types, and one of our meal plans is called Super Fast. And the idea there is those meal plans are 1 hour of prep or less. We
Perfect.
Really rely heavily on pre-chopped vegetables, just trying to keep things as quick as possible. So, and then we do have some other plans like the meal or the paleo plan. It's a little more time intensive, but still like 1 to 2 hours max. And I have some people, they'll break it up, and I always say back it up to a meal. So what I'm doing like Sunday as I'm making lunch or dinner, I just get a little longer and do that extra chopping. Sometimes even Monday night at dinner, I just know, hey, I'm going to start at 4 and spend an hour prepping tonight's dinner, but also like getting myself ready for the next few nights. So it doesn't seem as daunting.
Right. And so basically for the people listening, I think what it's kind of like the first few months, you're kind of like figuring out your rhythm. So it's probably going to be like anything new. It's going to be a little bit slower process. But then as you kind of get the rhythm of the recipes, the rhythm of the prep under your belt, you might be like, okay, because you can scan the prep and be like, oh, I can make these 3 sauces on Tuesday, but I can't do it on Sunday. And so I like how you kind of are helping women, because we all have to be that multitasker.
We know it.
And I love I'm a big fan of the double cook. So for, a lot of my women, where, you have 3 kids, the shuttling to wherever the hell these kids need to go. I don't remember having that much of a life as a child. And so for people who are like, all right, that sounds really great, but I'm shuttling my kids here, there, and everywhere. Could I just take all of these meals and just like do like one big batch cook?
Yeah, you can. And the other thing you could do, well, one thing I often do is I double or even triple the recipes. And then that way you can have so you could have it for 2 meals. So you maybe have it one night and then the next night you have the leftovers, but the leftovers are easy. And, some of the things we have some crock pot friendly meals and things like that. So I rely a lot on that depending on what my day looks like. And that's where it's good to up front, whether using my meal plan or not, look at your week and figure out, oh, Tuesday is going to be tight. Tuesday is going to be this meal because I have to start at Tuesday morning. Otherwise, we're going to have to do takeout. So just kind of figuring out what your week looks like week to week, and what meal, assign the meals based on that,
Yeah. No, and I think that's the first step that most people miss is that just scan the week, sit down on whatever day works best for you and just kind of say, what the hell's happening this week? And so that, if it's Tuesday, Wednesday or whatever, or hell, the whole week is just a hot mess, you go in not thinking on the drive home, crap, what are we going to eat?
Yeah, no, I think that I always say that's actually the key to healthy eating is taking that step back and being intentional. And maybe it is like, hey, this night we're going to do takeout. But if you have that plan and it's in your mind, then there's no like, whatever. Okay, I know this night, this is what we're going to do. And I'm not feeling guilty about it because then I know this next night I have this really healthy meal plan and this is just our reality this week, but it's not every night and I have it built in, So just being very intentional, that's the key, I think, to exercise and nutrition, right? Is having intentionality behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, for those folks who are listening, and they're like, oh, meal prep. And like, just like, just the words coming out of their mouth, they just envision just like a chore. How can you kind of help them overcome that like initial like meal prep fatigue?
Yeah, I like to talk a lot about this, like creating the habit, putting it on your calendar, but also like creating a positive thought around it, So taking a step back. Why is this important? Okay, number one, is this important to you? Number two, if so, why is this important to you? Write that down, know your why so that you're going into it. And then I don't look at it as like, oh my God, I have to meal prep this week. I have the opportunity to meal prep and feed myself these like really delicious, nourishing foods. And more importantly, I'm creating this opportunity for my family to sit down and connect every night on a regular basis and like have a healthy, connected, loving family. And to me, that kind of centers around our dinners. So when you look at it that way, it's like, oh wow, like this is it. Like this hour of prep is going to set me up to like have this life where we're healthy and we're connected. So when you look at it that way, it's like an opportunity versus like just another thing on your checklist. And then the other thing I say is like, once you start doing it, really, as you go through your week, appreciate the fact that you're doing it, right? Like, oh, on Wednesday, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I know what I'm eating. I already have the vegetables chopped. This is so easy. Like kind of thanking your past self. So then the next week you have that motivation because you remember like, oh yeah, like I did this last week and it was so nice. So it's worth it. And then there's also like little things like, listen to a favorite podcast, have a friend do it alongside with you for accountability. Get some help to do it. If you have a babysitter, have them do some chopping. Or if you have an older kid, have them mix up the sauces and they can measure. And so, there's a lot of different ways too. It doesn't all have to land on you either.
It's like you said, a bunch of different things that I think can really take the fatigue out of meal prep. And you're right, get the kids involved, so it's like, first of all, I am the queen of pre-chopped vegetables. Like if someone can pre-chop a vegetable or pre-shred or pre-whatever, I'm all in. So I'm like, I will handsomely pay for that. But also just like the kids, it's like, have them learn that it's not mom's restaurant, right? That like, like you just don't, we all know kids, you walk to the fridge, you open the fridge, and if it doesn't leap out in your face, there's nothing in there. So like have kids involved, because the more involved there are, the more they're likely to eat the food that they're eating, so like, for those of us who have we have picky kids, have them involved in the process, but also takes, like you said, takes the burden off you being like, I've worked a more than full-time job and yet here I am doing, mom duty like all day long. But I really like that if we get the family involved, and especially as you have these like month-long recipes, it's really nice to be able to start highlighting like, here are the hits, right? Or, during dinner, like what was the best part of dinner tonight? And it's like, and I'm sure you introduce new fruits and vegetables and so forth. So it's like, oh, wow, I never knew I really liked Brussels sprouts or whatever the heck might be on the plate.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's true of like so many foods. And I told this to my personal chef clients. I would go through and do a questionnaire and like, what foods do you like and not like? But oftentimes it's not that you don't like Brussels sprouts. Maybe you just don't like the way they've been prepared. So it's really cool to be able to try foods in different ways. Try the salmon with a, honey soy glaze versus pesto versus, just salt and pepper. And maybe you'll find, oh my gosh, my kids like devour it when it's made this way. So it is nice that it kind of forces, we try to push too much variety, but it does give you some variety and switches things up so you can really figure out your taste and your preferences.
Right. I mean, especially for Brussels sprouts, I think all of us grew up with them being boiled, and that's just
so gross.
Yes, that is just gross with a side of gross. But if you love it, rock on with your bad self. Um, so one of the things I was looking over your different menu options. You skew a lot towards like the paleo, the anti-inflammatory bend. Was that intentional, or just that's who you happen to do with the personal chefing for?
Yeah, part of it was exactly that. With the personal chef, I noticed there were a lot of people that were on sort of anti-inflammatory diets. I discovered I needed to be gluten-free right around the time I was creating the meal plans. So they're all gluten-free. The super fats, it's actually just gluten-free optional. So it's like, okay, you need pasta, but you choose, if it's gluten-free or not.
Gotcha.
And then, yes, the super fast, just like standard healthy and all that. But then we have the paleo where it is more if you need to remove grains and stuff like that. And it's because I did see that, especially working as a chef and dietitian, I had people coming to me that they're like, I feel so much better when I eat this way. And, I worked with functional medicine doctors that would refer me to their clients. And so, yeah, that's where that originated. But, and then even with kids, like being able to help kids that need to maybe go on something where they're eliminating some of those foods, but not have it feel restrictive. That's in no way a restrictive way of eating because it's focused just on, all these amazing foods I can't eat.
Right. And, one of the things I as I'm going through your menu, is it easy for people to like swap? So making, if for some reason you're like, this recipe requires salmon, could you just say, swap it out for cod?
Oh, 100%. Or even chicken. We try and some of the basic things, we always give substitutions in our newsletters of like, okay, if you don't like seafood, here's the standard swap. If you don't eat pork, here's what we recommend for this recipe. But we really try and keep them like uber flexible. And that's where it's nice because we're not providing the groceries.
Right.
But you can say like, my family's not a big fan of asparagus. I'm just going to do roasted broccoli instead. Or
gotcha.
So whatever it is, like definitely make them your own. Even when I'm doing it, I will sometimes be like, like my kids really like this. Let's do this instead. Or, I usually swap chicken thighs for chicken breasts. I just prefer dark meat to white meat. So that's one that I'm usually doing.
Yeah. No, I like that. Cause I always tell my clients, it's so many people, like when you hear the word meal plan, you kind of think that it's just this rigid thing that if you don't follow it to the T, like, God forbid, you're going to hurt the chef's feelings or it's going to taste like crap. And I'm like, most chefs got to the recipe through experimentation.
Yeah, no, these are really designed to where someone can run with it and make it their own. And that's really what I encourage is, figure out a way to make it your own. And so that you can sit down and really enjoy the food that you're eating.
Yeah. No, and as I was going through your website, I really like your approach to it. And so when people sign up for your program, is it like month to month? Is it quarterly? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so we have a few different options. People usually start with their 2-week free trial because we do have a trial so they can just try it out to see if it's a fit first and foremost. And then, we have either a month-to-month subscription or a yearly one. So they can kind of decide, the people that are really into it. And we have people that are, we've been around since 2012.
Oh my goodness.
It's been 13 years.
Wow.
And it's funny, we do have a few long timers that'll pop up because we have a Facebook group. So it's always fun to see they've kind of like grown up along with us. So.
No, and I like that because, I had a woman on my show, maybe like a couple years ago, and she actually teaches people to cook, which was really, really interesting because she's like, most people, they're like, I don't know how to cook. And so like she teaches people how to cook. And so one of the things she said like that was like, it's really interesting in the community around that gets built around the recipes, around the food. And so I like that because I'm sure there's people who have evolved who probably told themselves, I suck at cooking, but maybe through your recipes have found that confidence in the kitchen.
Yeah, we definitely see that people have quote unquote taught themselves to cook through using the meal plans. And that always makes me feel like very proud because I think that's, I guess maybe the other key to healthy eating is like, you got to have some basic cooking skills. You don't have to be a trained chef or anything, but just be comfortable with a knife and have a blender, like a few very basics.
Right. And I also, as I was going through your recipes, I like your recipes that, I'm not running around to the grocery store trying to find eye of newt and a slice of a frog's toe. Like, it's stuff that, like, one, I've heard of and I could like point out in the grocery store.
Yes. Yeah. No, we try and keep them very approachable, but still having that variety that I talked about earlier. So, yeah.
And now as you kind of like blend from like, week to week, do you help people kind of reuse the same things, or in your grocery list, am I buying specifically the things for that week?
Yeah. So we do kind of look at it big picture, although it's tricky because people are picking and choosing week to week which plans they make. We definitely start out look quarter basis. But week to week, one thing we do really pride ourselves on is we always use all of something, right? Like if we have you buy some, use all of it. If we have you get an onion, we're not going to leave you with half an onion in your fridge. Even if it's celery, we will put in the instructions, okay, you need like half the celery. Go ahead and chop the rest and just set it aside and keep it as a snack in the fridge. So that way you're at least not letting it wilt and it's there and you can use it for a snack. So we really are intentional with making sure they play well together. And like, we don't like the rotting vegetables in the back of the fridge.
I love that, because I know that, as I'm, listening to like my clients' objections, they're always like, and I'm sure you've had this too, where I'm like, hey, next week, I want you to change out something. Look, Kim, I just bought a new jar. I'm like, did I say throw it out? I was like, finish the jar and then switch. So we are not being wasteful here, people. We understand the price of groceries is not exactly, for the faint of heart. I saw recently a meme that said the 5-second rule has been extended to 30 seconds because of the price of food.
That is about right these days. I have noticed that for sure. With all the testing I do, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, and I'm just a family of two. So I'm like, I can't even imagine when you go to the grocery store and you live on a farm. So you're like, I don't know if I can grow all these vegetables.
No, definitely not. And I have 3 boys. So it's like they...
Oh, yeah. How old are your boys?
Well, they're 6, 4, and 14 months. But I'm telling you, the 14-month, he's like on a growth spur. He eats so much that I'm like, I don't know where we're headed, but I'm going to have to buy another fridge because I can't keep up.
Yeah, wait till you're like 14 and you're like eating me out of house and home. I'm probably going to have to like move to a ranch in order to feed you.
I know. Oh, for sure.
So I want to shift the focus here. One of the missions that your company has, which I think is really exciting, and I don't know if exciting is a word, but I just think it's a nice thing that you focus in on helping women get through miscarriages, because I feel like it's one of those topics that it's happened to more people than you'd think, but it's one of those, maybe you whisper about it, maybe you don't ever talk about it kind of things. And then, or you wait 30 years and you say, this happened to me. So what made you kind of say, like, this has to be a mission in my business?
Yeah. So it's, it's something that I went through personally, and in going through it, it was exactly that. I'm like, wow, like no one's talking about this, and I want to do something. So I actually I have a nonprofit called Miscarriage Hope Desk. And, I had repeated miscarriages, a total of 6.
And, my goodness.
Shared very openly about my story. I, some of my kids are adopted. I also have a biological son, but like I've gone through this whole journey and really wanted to make sure I created something to help the women that were struggling with, one loss or multiple losses. I just didn't even know that was something that was in the realm of possibility. Like I had never heard of anyone having that many losses, and wanted to do exactly what you said, is like, create this space where people could have the conversations and realize that they weren't alone and there were other women that had gone through it. And, you didn't do anything wrong. Like I was eating healthy. I'm a dietitian.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Why is this happening? And, so letting people see that like, yeah, it sucks and it's hard, but it's also like, you're not the only one. So that's just kind of been this passion project of mine. And it's been a really cool community. And like you said, it was amazing in the beginning, the women that were like, because there didn't used to be these spaces to talk about it, I had a lot of people in my community that it happened way in the past and they just had never processed it or talked about it. And that was a surprise to me in the beginning. But, I think things are changing now. So that's good to see that at least it is I think it's a more common conversation, but there's still some work to be done. So, yeah. So thank you for bringing that up. That's Miscarriage Hope Desk. And I'm, proud of the work that goes on there and really, again, a passion project to help women if they're struggling with that.
I think there's a lot of women issues that, we just kind of didn't talk about or we whisper about. And now I think so many of us have realized, like, just having the conversation about, my primary focus is menopause. Like, we didn't talk about menopause. It was just like, you heard about the birds and the bees. And the same thing with miscarriage. Like, you just assumed, like, you have sex, you get pregnant. Like, that's how it was explained to us. I don't think we ever learned that like you could have a miscarriage, like, and then people.
Yeah,
like you just assumed you had sex, you had a baby. Like, that was all that we were told, and we were never told about the downside of miscarriage and how to handle it. Or, hey, after you stop having your period, this is what happens to you. And it was just like, you'll figure it out. Good luck. So I'm glad that you are opening the door on that.
Yeah. No, and I feel like I went straight from fertility and worried about figuring all my fertility out and then kind of jumped into perimenopause stuff. So yeah, I appreciate the work you're doing for sure.
Yeah, no one, we all know that navigating life is challenging. We never realize all the other challenges that were going to be like a tsunaami coming at us through our lives. So I'm really happy that you have, have helped people through your Prep Dish program. And ladies, it's a subscription. Like she said, it's a 2-week free trial. So you get a 2-week free trial and just
so I have the 2-week free trials. The trial is prepdish.com/fitmagic.
So give it a try. Like, one of the things I really like is that, what the hell to have for dinner? Like, like that's always like the biggest question of the night. Like, I've seen like memes of like, no one told me I had to make dinner every night when I was an adult, right? Like, so adulting can be hard, but here Allison is making it really easy. And like she said, if you don't like chicken thighs, if you don't like chicken breast, make chicken thighs. If you don't like chicken thighs, make chicken breast. You don't like salmon, make it anything else that you like. And I'm going to apologize. You also do vegan, vegetarian at all, or I just would take out the protein?
Yeah, we give the subs for that. Our super fast, we have one vegetarian meal a week. Vegan would be a little trickier, but we have some vegetarians that'll make it work. But yeah, none specifically that are 100%.
Gotcha. So grab the free trial. Like, you got nothing to lose. It's free. And then in 2 weeks, you fall in love. All of a sudden, you're in Allison's community and you're cooking up like your Martha Stewart. Minus the chickens and the big garden that she has. Unless you have that. And what? I do want to talk about one thing before I wrap this up. So as I was reading your bio, you have 29 chickens?
I think right now it's 19. It varies month to month, year to year. I've learned not to name them and get too close.
So now, did you start with one chicken, or did you already start, or you needed to have a flock?
Yeah, we usually start pretty high with babies. And then ideally what happens is then in the spring, they'll have their own babies, which is a lot easier because then the moms bring the chicks up. So we've done both. But yeah, we usually start with a larger number.
So did you decide that you wanted to have chickens, or just kind of happened upon you?
Yeah, when we moved out here, we knew for sure we wanted chickens. The goats, on the other hand, we had a goat just show up at our back door. So that's how that started. But the chickens were intentional.
Oh my goodness. I live in the city, and the best animals I have are rats, pigeons, and squirrels. From time to time, I see a wild turkey.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And if a goat showed up in my backyard, I would not know what to do with it. I would be like, what do you eat? I would have to be Googling.
Well, we did have to do that. We had to go in town and be like, can we get some goat feed? She looks hungry.
Do they sell goat chow?
Yeah, it turns out, yeah, they do. And then alfalfa and hay, and it's a whole thing.
All righty. All right. So she is Martha Stewart in the making right now. So I always ask everyone, what's one thing that makes you feel magical?
Oh my goodness. I think the thing that makes me feel magical is I have always been an avid traveler. I love to get on a plane and go to a new place. And I think now, like doing that with my family, kind of from the moment you're on that plane, but definitely when you land and you're in like this new place you've never been, it's always an adventure. It always feels like magic. And it's so much fun now to even see it through my kids' eyes as well. So I will say travel makes me feel like magic.
I absolutely love that. And I can totally agree with that. I'm all about the travel as well. Allison, where can people find you on the socials?
Yep. So at Prep Dish for all the meal planning, and then at Miscarriage Hope Desk for anything, if anyone, is needing support in that way, we're on Instagram with that platform as well.
Awesome. Allison, thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation. Go for it.
I was going to add, I also have a podcast. So it's called Meal Prep Monday, and I talk meal planning, meal prep habits. And then I kind of get off on tangents. So I'm sure you can relate, but yes.
I know the tangent thing. You're like, I'm going to start talking about this. Then you make that left turn and you never come back.
Yes.
So ladies, you have that 2-week free trial, and all of the links that Allison just shared will be in the show notes. And absolutely, if you're always like, what the bleep to have for dinner, this is your answer, my friends. Hop in, give it a 2-week trial, and see how you like it. And she will always answer any questions that you have. All right, Magic Makers, I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me today.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you've made it this far, yay. I'm thinking you enjoyed the show. Let's continue the conversation on Instagram. You can find me at Kim Jefferson Coach. In order for me to keep sharing this message, do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss an episode. New episodes are available every Wednesday. The Fit Girl Magic podcast is intended to provide you with tips, tools, and strategies that will help you make better decisions about your health. I really appreciate your feedback and your support. Thank you so much.